is very quiet and is very, very smart and does all of the numbers stuff.
Worked so hard on her book. She has the #1 book on the New York Times bestseller.
It started as a tour announcement, but turned into something much bigger. When Beyoncé launched her Cowboy Carter Tour, fans expected the music, the visuals, the iconic fashion, but what they didn't expect was a family reveal that would send the internet spiraling. Midway through the show, during the song Protector, Beyoncé slows everything down. The lights dimmed, the crowd hushed, and out walked Rumi Carter. This wasn't just a cameo. This was intentional. She stood beside her mother on stage, tiny but fearless, striking what fans quickly dubbed the protector pose, arms crossed like she was guarding something sacred. Beyoncé knelt to her daughter's level, stared her in the eyes, and sang directly to her. It was a moment that hit hard for anyone who's ever seen a mother's love on full display. At first, the internet loved it. Clips of the performance went viral almost instantly. People called it beautiful, empowering, iconic. But then, the mood shifted. What started as admiration quickly turned into analysis. TikTok users began uploading slowed-down clips of Rumi on stage, pointing out every giggle, every jump, every playful gesture like they were clues in some unsolved mystery. The way she laughed, the way she waved, the way she moved. Suddenly, people with zero medical background were confidently declaring that Rumi must be neurodivergent. Some even used clinical terms, attaching labels to a child they've never met, based on a few seconds of footage. The comments flooded in, some masked as concern, others not even trying to pretend. What's worse, these diagnoses weren't coming from experts, but from strangers desperate to go viral. The joy that Rumi showed on that stage, the freedom in her body language, became fuel for armchair psychology. And as the spotlight on her grew hotter, people started asking an even colder question. If this is how Rumi acts in public, then where is her brother? That question opened the floodgates. Sir Carter, Rumi's twin, hadn't been seen on stage. In fact, he hadn't been seen much at all. Fans quickly noticed that while Rumi and older sister Blue Ivy have had their share of public appearances, Super Bowls, award shows, even Good Morning America, Sir has always been the quiet one, the missing piece. That absence became the perfect canvas for speculation. Some claimed it was intentional. Others went further, insisting it had to mean something was wrong. That maybe Sir was dealing with a more serious condition Beyoncé didn't want the world to see. It didn't stop there. People began combing through past footage, everything from home videos to the Renaissance concert film, trying to find signs. They pointed to a brief moment where Sir supposedly flaps his hands, another clip where he drags his foot slightly, out-of-context moments that were suddenly being treated like diagnostic criteria. And even though Beyoncé featured photos of Sir on the tour's visual screens and gave him a heartfelt shout-out during the show, it wasn't enough. The silence around him wasn't seen as protection, it was treated like proof of something hidden, something shameful, and that's when things really started to spiral. Just when the rumors seemed to peak, Azealia Banks decided to throw gasoline on the fire. In a series of now viral posts, she openly criticized Beyoncé, accusing her of hiding Sir from the public eye and suggesting that his absence pointed to something Beyoncé was ashamed of. It wasn't subtle, and coming from someone with a reputation for controversy, it hit differently. Suddenly, this wasn't just internet speculation. It had become a full-on celebrity call-out. Whether Banks was being brutally honest or just stirring the pot, her words gave voice to a growing online narrative. Fans were split. Some defended Beyoncé fiercely, arguing that her children's lives were nobody's business. Others echoed Banks, demanding answers Beyoncé never promised to give. The conversation had officially shifted from curiosity to confrontation. What started as a moment of celebration on stage had morphed into a media storm about parenting, privacy, and public image. But through all the noise, one thing kept getting overlooked. Beyoncé had spoken about this. Not directly about Sir, but about something deeper, something painful. Something that might explain why she's so fiercely protective in the first place. Long before any of this speculation started, Beyoncé shared something few people talk about. Her pregnancy with the twins nearly cost her everything. In interviews and documentaries, she's described the experience as traumatic. She developed preeclampsia, a dangerous condition that put both her and the babies at risk. Her body began to shut down. She was swollen, her organs were failing, and the doctors had no choice but to perform an emergency C-section. It wasn't a story of glamour, it was survival. And even though she's never said which twin was in distress, rumors have circulated that it was Sir, that he was the one who struggled more, the one who needed extra care after birth. If that's true, and even if it's not, how could anyone blame her for drawing a protective line around him? Beyoncé isn't just a global superstar. She's a mother who came terrifyingly close to losing her child. And maybe that's why Sir isn't in the spotlight. Not because there's something to hide, but because she refuses to take that risk again. While the internet speculated, Beyoncé's mother, Tina Knowles, gave an answer that was far less dramatic and far more human. In an interview, she described Sir as quiet, very smart and low-key, not withdrawn, not mysterious, just chill, the kind of kid who prefers to observe rather than perform. And in contrast to his more expressive sisters, that difference stood out, but it wasn't a red flag. It was just personality. Tina also emphasized that all her grandchildren are creative and artistic in their own ways. They just express it differently. Beyoncé, too, has said repeatedly that she goes out of her way to keep her kids grounded. She's talked about only touring when school is out, handpicking their education, and keeping their lives as normal as possible. She shields them from the noise, not because she's hiding them, but because she knows exactly how loud and toxic the spotlight can be. So, if Sir wants to stay out of it, why wouldn't she let him? But the online world wasn't ready to let it go, because even Beyoncé's lyrics started to look like clues. Fans turned their focus to Beyoncé's lyrics, convinced that she had hidden messages scattered across her music. One song in particular, My Rose, became a lightning rod. People claimed it was a subtle confession, a veiled tribute to parenting a neurodivergent child. Lines were pulled out, isolated, and dissected like sacred texts. Every metaphor was reinterpreted. Every tender lyric was seen as a coded cry for help. And it didn't stop with just one song. Online sleuths went album deep, convinced that Beyoncé had been telling a secret story all along. But here's the thing: art is meant to be interpreted. That's part of its power. Still, the desperation to decode Beyoncé's every word said more about us than it did about her. The idea that a mother expressing love through her music must be hiding something speaks to how we've stopped listening to what's actually being said. The need to turn every song into a revelation blurred the line between appreciation and intrusion. And that line gets even more dangerous when it comes to Black children. At some point, this stopped being about Beyoncé. It stopped being about Rumi and Sir. It became about the public's obsession with dissecting Black families under a microscope. Because what Rumi did on that stage, laughing, waving, being herself, would have been seen as endearing in any other context. But instead, it was pathologized, turned into something to diagnose, to question, to pick apart. And Sir's absence, it wasn't just noticed, it was weaponized. People projected their own discomfort with not knowing onto a child they've never met, crafting entire narratives based on shadows and silence. This isn't new. Black children have long been denied the space to simply exist without being labeled. They're often seen as older, less innocent, and more different from the moment they step into the public eye. Rumi's carefree moment should have been a celebration, a little Black girl feeling safe enough to be joyful in front of the world. But instead, it became a case study for speculation. And the quiet that Beyoncé worked so hard to protect around Sir, that silence was interpreted as guilt, as if a mother's love needed to be explained. So we're left with a question, and it's not about Rumi. It's not about Sir, it's about us. Why do we feel entitled to dissect the lives of children we don't know? At what point did curiosity turn into surveillance? The internet is quick to say it's out of concern, out of love, out of wanting answers. But when love turns into obsession, and concern turns into theories, something gets lost. Something human. Beyoncé has always said she wants her kids to have a childhood that feels real. And maybe, just maybe, the real problem isn't that she's hiding them. It's that she's protecting them from us. Because when we talk about celebrity children, especially Black children, we have to ask, are we giving them space to grow, Or just waiting for something to be wrong? Are we showing empathy? Or just craving content? And if we're so busy decoding lyrics and reading into silence, maybe it's time we listen to what's actually being said, or better yet, what's not. What do you think? Is this genuine concern? Or are we crossing a line? Drop your thoughts in the comments. But remember, these are real kids, not clickbait. If you want more deep dives like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment.